that's my job because there's rules. So don't make me stop you, okay? All right.
Okay, thank you, Melissa. And I'll be introducing the races and the candidates in the order that they should come up. So we have the Potter County Justice of the Peace Precinct 1 candidates, Amanda Mayfield, Lisa Ruiz, and Brian Tackett. If you would please approach the tables and have your seats in that order.
This is where you can clap for them. All right, so the order is Amanda Mayfield, and then Lisa DeVries, and then Brian Tackett. So the first question is, what inspired you to run for this office? And I think you have your microphones right there. There's a little button. You can turn it on. What inspired you to run for this office?
My inspiration for running for this office
Closer.
it's extremely unusual for an attorney to run for Justice of the Peace, but in November, a group of concerned citizens approached me and specifically asked me to run for this position. So in November and December, I went to Precinct 1 courtroom and observed Judge Horn holding eviction and truancy hearings, and I was just absolutely amazed. Judge Horn is a judge first and foremost. She's exceptionally knowledgeable about the law, but she exhibits compassion while working within the framework of that law. I was completely touched. I saw that it was hands-on justice, down in the trench justice. And I want to be a part of it. I feel like I can make a positive impact in this court, especially with a lot of my experience as a judicial attorney for the last 27 years and independent attorney for the last 5 years. I want to be able to step into Judge Horn's shoes without a setback or a learning curve and continue her legacy of the well-run court.
All right, thank you, Amanda. Lisa, second question. What inspired you to run for this office?
I was inspired.
You got really close to you. Really close.
Right, really close like this? Okay.
Don't give me some thumbs up, thumbs down. I'll try to adjust. Okay.
I was inspired to run for the office because I've spent my career serving the community on the front lines, and I have seen how much people depend on the Justice of the Peace Court when they are in some of the most stressful times of their lives. I have worked at the Potter County Sheriff's Office as a licensed peace officer for the past 18 years, so I know what it looks like on both sides of the law. And when I heard that Judge Horn was retiring, I felt like it was something that I felt like I was meant to do it, to run for it. So I put in for it, and we'll see what happens.
All right, thank you, Lisa. And then Brian Tackett, same question. What inspired you to run for this office?
Thank you. When I was 17, I found myself standing before Justice of the Peace in Board County, Kentucky. I was scared and worried that I wouldn't graduate high school and I would lose my football eligibility. I had an older brother that went on to college, and that was my aspiration. But I'm thankful for the mercy that judge showed me that day. And as he shook my hand as I was leaving the court, he told me to never come back in his courtroom again. And I didn't. And here I sat. After running my business for 24 years, when I sold that, I was in the GOP precinct chair for my precinct. And I heard rumors that Debbie might be retiring, but she didn't. So as my colleague said, Debbie Holmes was a great judge, so I wasn't going to run against her. But when I heard that she was retiring, I thought I could take that experience that I had and maybe provide that same type of accountability, prudence, and clarity to maybe someone else that might be standing before me. Hopefully, if I can get your vote. So that's why I'm running for Justice of the Peace. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the second question. What do you see as the biggest challenge or challenges facing Precinct 1, and what actions will you take to address them? So it's kind of a two-part question there. And Lisa's going to start. What do you see as the biggest challenge or challenges that face Precinct 1, and what actions will you take to address them?
I feel like the biggest challenge that faces JP1 is the amount of the caseload, the large caseload that it has. JP1 is the only JP court that does truancy for all of Potter County school districts, so they have that added on to every other case that every other justice of the peace does. So to help combat that, or not combat it, but to help it run efficiently like it is now, just lean on the clerks and make sure that we have a smooth system worked out, that so we don't have any bumps in the road, so we get all the cases worked through in a timely manner.
Thank you. All right, Brian, you're up for this question. What do you see as the biggest challenge or challenges facing Precinct 1, and what actions will you take to address them?
Well, I visited all my schools in my precinct and talking to principals and faculty. And going into the meetings, actually, I kind of felt this already as a community coach for many years in Precinct 1. I believe the biggest challenge is truancy. Because of its, it's rarely about the missing of the school or missing classroom. It's often more inside of deeper issues at home for learning and for stability. My approach would be early intervention and accountability. I would work towards truancy, addressing it proactively by improving communication with the schools, parents, and ensuring families clearly understand the expectations, timely, and consequences. My experience as a long-term community coach and mentor has shown me that addressing truancy early keeps kids engaged, strengthens families, and prevents long-term involvement in the justice system and improve their outcomes. The court can play a constructive role by encouraging compliance before cases ever escalate. Reducing repeat appearances.
I'll let you finish your sentence, but it's got to be quick finished.
And long-term consequences. Thank you.
Thank you. And to make that to really get to finish your sentence. Unless it's too long. All right. I mean, it does say question, what do you see as the biggest challenge or challenges for your precinct, and what actions will you take to address them?
I'm going to be on the exact same page. I do believe that truancy cases in Precinct 1 is the biggest challenge that we face. As Lisa stated, Precinct 1 is designated as the court to hear all of the truancy cases in Potter County, so that would include AIC as well as Highland Park and River Road. In 2025, there were 205 cases filed in Precinct 1. That was 200 less than 2024. So we do have a huge number of cases that we have to address in there. The biggest challenge is ensuring strict documentation of compliance with the truancy prevention measures. It's a protocol that all school districts are required to implement by the state of Texas, which includes a behavior improvement plan. And so the main reason that a lot of those cases didn't make it to the court is we just didn't document the protocol compliance as we should have. So that's the main challenge, is trying to follow up with that. And also,
That's your time.
thank you.
It is really fast. Yes. All right. Yes, please, you can clap for them. All right, so the last question for our Precinct 1 Justice of the Peace candidates, and we're going to start with Brian first. How do you plan to ensure fair and impartial rulings in your court?
Thank you. Fairness and impartiality begin with consistency and discipline. As a justice of the peace, every decision must be grounded in the law, the facts presented, and due process, not personalities, pressures, or public opinion. I would ensure impartial rulings by listening carefully to all sides, applying the law consistently, and basing decisions on evidence rather than emotion. My background in business and community service require neutrality and fairness every day, even when outcomes are difficult or unpopular. Clear communication also matters. When people understand the process and reason behind the ruling, they may not always agree with the outcome, but they know they were treated fairly and with respect. Ultimately, impartial justice begins treating every person the same, with dignity, consistency, and respect for the law.
Thank you. All right, Amanda, how do you plan to ensure fair and impartial rulings in your court?
Okay, as I stated earlier, I've been with the federal judiciary and the state appellate judiciary for 27 years, and I had amazing judges for role models for all of those years. The number one rule, you leave all biases, all prejudices, and preconceived ideas at the courthouse steps. That's not at the courtroom door, it's at the courthouse steps. You eliminate any appearance of impropriety, you show no partiality, you are precluded from all ex parte communications, and you give an equal opportunity for each litigant to present their cases. You always want to provide well-reasoned, accurate explanations based on the law for all of your rulings. That's one of the reasons that in the 27 years I was with the judiciary, I was never overturned on appeal. That consistency is necessary. The public needs to know what to expect. So that's how I would continue stepping forward as all of the judges that I've worked for have done.
Thank you. All right, Lizzie, let's read about this question. How do you plan to ensure fair and impartial rulings in your court?
Well, fairness starts with the law and treating everyone the same, regardless of who they are. With being in law enforcement, I'm familiar with what the law is, and I'm also would base everything that comes to my court in fairness and due process of law. I would base my decisions off of the evidence that is given to me, the facts that are presented, and I would not make my decisions based on outside pressures or other people's opinions of what they think how I should rule. I would stick with the law and due process, and that's how I would do fair and impartial rulings.
Great, thank you. All right, before you're out of the hot seat, you get 1 minute, and that is for you to refute anything, have a rebuttal, use this time to make a closing statement if you would like, and we're back to Amanda starting first.
I would like to say that I don't have much of a rebuttal because there wasn't much to rebut, right? But I would like to give just a closing statement, I assume. I do feel like I'm the best choice for this position based on my education, my experience in the judiciary. A few additional reasons: I have appeared in representing clients many times in JP courts, primarily on debt claims in the Metroplex because I never wanted to have any conflict of interest locally. But I've also been a landlord for 28 years for residential as well as commercial for the last 3 years. I understand the specifics of landlord-tenant law. I understand the duties imposed on landlords, but also on the tenants themselves. I want to provide the continuity by stepping into Judge Horn's shoes. I really don't want to fall behind, have to start over, or have drastic learning curves with setbacks. So I really think I can make a difference. I can make the process better based on my experience, and I can still help others.
Thank you very much. All right, so see you in 1 minute.
Right. I also don't really have a rebuttal because I don't feel like there's really anything to rebut, but I would like to make a closing statement also. I have 18 years of working at the Sheriff's Office. I have been working in the arraignment room for the last 6 of those years, working with other JP judges, with doing registrations and district judges, and I've seen both sides of the law. I've seen the rulings and I've seen the after effects of the rulings. And I feel like with my experience and education, I do have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice also, that I can be a fair, impartial, and judge. I just feel like I would be a very good choice for this, and I really hope that y'all will vote for me. Or come speak to me later and get to know me a little better.
Thank you. All right, Brian, please.
I'm just going to make a statement. I believe I'm the best choice because my experience aligns with what the Justice of the Peace actually does on a daily basis. Serving everyday people at important moments in their lives. I bring real-world leadership shaped by decades of business, community service, and crisis response. I owned and operated an insurance and financial agency, working daily with contracts, disputes, documentations, and financial responsibility. That experience translates directly to JP matters, like small claims, landlord-tenant disputes. I also served as the ER trauma chaplain in Northwest, while I learned to stay calm under pressure, listen carefully, and treat people with dignity during difficult moments. Skills that matter in inquest and sensitive cases. And as a pastor, coach, and mentor, I've worked with families and youth, giving me a strong foundation for handling truancy cases with accountability and early intervention. I'm committed to fairness, clear communication, and prudent decision-making. Also, always focused on real people, real futures.
Yes,
Vote for Dr. Deacon Hackett.
Great. Give these guys a hand, please. Okay, let's see. They make that look really easy, y'all. They're challenging you too.